This is a mid-August leading indicators of the real estate market update. My name is Greg Jackson. I'm with eXp Realty here in Central Oregon, and I want to give you an update on the Bend market and how it's moving right now. So what we look at are going to be leading indicators versus lagging indicators. So what's the difference between the two? First off, lagging indicators are looking at 30, 60, 90, even 4 months ago. Leading indicators are what we're looking at today and how the markets are moving. So if we look at closed transactions, that is a lagging indicator. That means that these transactions could have been pending for 30, 60, 90 days, and those transactions are telling us what was happening in the market 2 to 3 months ago. So what we like to look at are leading indicators that tell us how the markets are moving today. So what are some of the leading indicators that we like to look at? We like to look at pending transactions, active listings in the market. I also like to look at how many expired transactions, canceled transactions, withdrawn transactions are happening in the marketplace. It's telling us a lot more than you'd think about what's going on in the market today. One of the main leading indicators that we like to look at is active listings in the marketplace. At the beginning of May, we were sitting around 200 active listings in our market. Right now, in the middle of August, we're looking at about 525 listings in our area. So that's almost more than double the amount of listings that we had just a few months ago. So what does that mean? Double our inventory. We're seeing a lot more homes on the market, which for buyers is giving you a lot more options in the market. 70% of buyers that purchased in the last 2 years said that they settled on the home that they bought because there was such a frenzy of buying and everything was so fast-paced, people were getting into some tough situations. So you don't have to do that anymore as a buyer. But as a seller, it means that you're gonna have a lot more competition, which means that if you put your house on the market, it's not gonna be moving in 1 or 2 days unless it is priced appropriately. There is a large separation between buyers and sellers right now, and what people don't understand is that the market is different than what it was just a few months ago. So what we've been seeing in the Bend market over the last 30 days is a spike in new listings. We reached about 570 active listings in the Bend market. That's come down a little bit in the last 2 weeks. And the reason for that is our new listings are being outperformed by pending transactions. So what that's telling us is that there's more demand than active listings are coming on the market. And what does that do to our supply and demand? That's going to keep prices level and where they're at right now. But that means it's more important than ever to make sure as a seller you are pricing your property properly. If you're pricing above market value, the amount of buyers that are going to be interested in your property is much lower. Mortgage applications for buyers is down 50% over the last few months compared to where we just were at the beginning of the year. So there's less buyers in the market. However, there's still a ton of buyers that are out there looking for a home. So making sure that it's priced well and it's priced at market value. It's very difficult to understand what market value is right now, which is why you need an experienced realtor to work with you on the sale of your home. Another important factor to look at is days on market. And what most people look at is going to be median days on market. So the issue with this is that there's a lot of transactions that hit the market and go directly to pending, so it shows 0 days on market. Now, I like to look at average days on market because it doesn't factor in those properties. So right now, our median days on market is about 12, but our average is about 18, so almost a week longer than what most people are looking at. So what this is telling us is that there are a lot of off-market properties that are out there for the finding, and you just need somebody to help you find those. So as a buyer, right now, There are a lot of people that are thinking about selling, they just aren't sure. But if we can find those properties for you, there are sellers that are willing to move and let you buy their house so that they can move on. So sold versus list ratio. So what is that telling us? That is telling us what offers are coming in below or over list price. Where does that fall under? So right now, this last week, our transactions were at 98.7, which means that most offers are coming in below asking price, which is great. For a buyer, that is fantastic. You can start to write offers for properties under the list value, which has been unheard of in the last 2 years. So we are really starting to see that change. As a buyer, there's also some more technical stuff that we can get into, like asking for the seller to pay for some closing costs so you can get your interest rates down. There's a lot more flexibility and options. This isn't just a one-sided market anymore where sellers dictate everything. Now buyers have a little bit more power, and the transactions that are happening right now are more negotiation versus just throwing money out the window towards a property that you don't really want, but you feel like you need to get that property. So as a buyer, you have a lot more options. As a seller, what does all of this mean for you? It means that pricing your property properly is going to be the biggest move that you can make right now. Making sure that you're priced at market value or above or below, it's going to depend on what your motivation is to make your next move. Do you care that it sits on the market a little bit longer? Do you need to sell now? Are you being relocated? What's really driving you to sell your property? And then we can price appropriately depending on what your next move is. The last thing I want to look at is expired listings, canceled listings, and withdrawn listings. So what we're seeing right now is all of those numbers are up a lot. So we're seeing a lot more canceled transactions. We're seeing a lot more transactions get to the end of their listing agreement, so they're expiring and going back on the market, or they're not on the market anymore. So what's very important is with all of this, these are considered off-market properties now. Sellers may still be motivated to sell, but they're not on the market. So as a buyer, this is great news. These are properties that your agent can go find for you, go digging for you. Find something that is not everyone else is looking at and see if we can find the right fit for you. So what does this mean for buyers coming in the market right now? This is a great time for you guys. Number one, you have more listings than we've seen in the last 2 years on the market right now. So you have options. Remember, 70% of people that bought in the last 2 years settled on the house that they bought. So you're in the driver's seat a little bit more than they were. The competition that we were seeing last year is not there anymore. We're not seeing 10 to 15 offers where you have to adjust your terms that are so favorable for the seller and they're not good for you. So we've seen a lot of people get in trouble with this, with no inspections or no seller credits. Negotiations for repairs are non-existent. That's different. So moving forward, we have a lot more negotiation power on the buying side. Okay, so for sellers, what does all this mean? Is this a good time to sell? Yeah, it's a great time to sell right now, as long as you understand the process and the expectations are set in front of you for moving forward. So understanding where the market values of properties are at is more important than ever. People last year, they could price above market value, and they're most likely going to get that because of the frenzy that we were seeing and so many offers coming in. That being said, we still saw some properties sit a little bit longer because they were too high priced. But right now, properties priced at market value, a little bit under, they're getting so much traction and still moving quickly. So really diving deep to understanding your motivation, why you're selling, what your next move is and really what you want is going to put you in the driver's seat. It's a great time to buy, it's a great time to sell, and contingent offers are back into the marketplace. So we can go search for your next home while we're selling your home. You don't need this weird in-between time where you need a ton of cash, or you need to sell your house and live in a trailer and then buy something. So you have a lot of options right now. Sellers, you still have a ton of power because you're great on the selling side and the buying side. So it puts you in a great position. The last thing I want to leave you with in this video is the understanding that the market is different than it was a few months ago. The way properties are moving, the negotiation process, all of this is different. We are seeing a lot of new programs come into the marketplace. We're seeing properties sit on the market a lot longer. Buyers have options. Interest rates have moved up, but they're steadying out. So understand that the market is different. If you'd like to go into a deeper dive on this with me, I would love to meet you and talk to you about what's going on and how I can help you with your future move.